or we can, with my recommendation, you know, the Tran and the Permit Pro, update, and that'll be great. Unless there's something else you guys.
No, we don't, we're all covered except for just like Trent and that, so. If you want to make a motion.
Okay, I'll make a motion, we approve the Select Board 2024 annual report with the update of the Tran property progress and Permit Pro progress. Yep.
Need a second?
Second.
Here's one. The town hall renovation projects listed, public water supplies listed, the reestablishment of our personnel committee, and the capital improvements. That, I mean, we established the personnel committee.
And we are working on it.
And we are working on it, right, we are working on it, and it does mention the benchmarking stuff, which we've been working on. So, but you're right, just for the record, we did form the committee, and then we rescinded that vote. But
we're still working.
we're still working on it, and yeah, that committee will be formed, right, so it's working on it. He seconded it.
All in favor?
Adam's aye.
So do I.
Dwyer, aye.
Vandal, aye. All right, up next, we got the Select Board Annual Town Meeting warrant articles.
So we had gone over the other two, so there was just a question on the wording of the Article 20. That's what I came up with. I know George did send us all the residents for purpose of voting.
So like I shared at the last meeting, the original bylaw, I guess, right, doesn't state that you have to be a resident in town to hold an elected position, is that correct?
That was my
Right.
understanding.
So the question is, what's the definition of residency? Like, what does that mean to be able to run for an elected position? So it can be any elected position. So, and with that said, that's why I questioned the last time this came up, because what does that mean? And the word that, when the motion at the last meeting was made, the term live in town. Well, living in town and being a resident in town are two different things, right? And the state, some states are very clear on what residency is, right? In Massachusetts, and for us,
Not very clear.
it's not very clear. And I tried to find some stuff, Mass General Law, there's stuff about, you know, taxes, like there's an explanation of residency and paying taxes and stuff. The town clerk helped me with this and sent, you know, residents for voting purposes, which I thought was actually interesting, because at first I thought, well, that's for voting, but when you get into it on page 2 and top of page 3, it actually talks about exactly, like, not exactly, they try to explain what a resident is, you know, what residency is, for example. You know, it says, like, the first, like, right here, every person must have only one resident at a time for voting purposes and holding elective office. So that's pretty clear. We can put that one sentence in our bylaws, you know. Generally, a person's residence is a person's home or where he or she is physically present, intending it to be home for at least a time. Well, what is time? And that's where Massachusetts doesn't really define time. Some states do, ours doesn't. There is no clear-cut definition of residency. The concept of a person's residence is fact-specific to each particular case. Then it goes on to say, consequently, a fact-specific inquiry is necessary in order to determine a citizen's residency. If you keep reading, it goes on, and it does mention, like, you know, some of those actions may be amount of time spent in various places, former residencies, and voter registration, future plans, income taxes, bank accounts, telephone lists, places of employment, and religious, social, and political affiliations. So what they're saying there is that that's one way to identify a resident, right? So the way I look at, I mean, personally, I guess if someone's gonna run for elected office and they're gonna be a resident, are we gonna question it? Like, do they have to show proof? Well, here's my driver's license, right? This is my legal resident. I'm registered to vote, I have a bank account in town, I, have a utility bill that doesn't, we just have to be careful on this verbiage, because we don't want to eliminate, I call them, residents, snowbirds, so these people that, residents that leave town, that leave for, 4 or 6 months at a clip for the winter months, they should still be able to be on the board or committee. This day and age, with online meetings and all that stuff, I know several residents that are on the boards and committees that travel and still attend meetings. So again, if this is their legal residency, perfect. If that's, I just want to make sure we're not, we don't want to get too much into meat and potatoes. If we want to reference the residents for voting purposes, if you continue to read this, there's all these legal cases, and they gave a bunch of examples, if so-and-so was retired and they're traveling for, 4 months out of the year, it's still a legal resident.
Yes, it's very subjective.
It is, so.
Depends on how you want to interpret it.
That's right. So I guess my point is, by adding this, for us, what we're looking at is changing a bylaw, or adding a statement to the bylaw that says all elected town officials must maintain a permanent residence in the town of Brimfield. What's a permanent resident? Again, how do we, I guess what we just said, right? You're voting or so forth. Residence in this context means a person's permanent address where they physically reside and maintain their abode. Again, abode is, I looked that up, because I haven't heard the word abode very often in this day and age, but it means residence. We're just saying the same thing differently. So, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay, but again, physically resides, I don't know what that means. I don't have to live in Brimfield, that's my physical address. That doesn't mean I have to live here a month, 6 months, 8 months out of the year. Does that make sense? Legally, any resident, if this is your legal residency, okay, physically, it's, again, you can say where I lay my head, but for myself personally, as a traveling salesman, I've been doing it for 30-something years, there are days where I would be home like 1 week out of every month. Does that make,
You're still a permanent resident. Yeah.
Right, I'm just not here, probably, so it's kind of like what I'm looking at, and same with, like I said, other residents, military.
So are you okay with the way that this is written? I mean, would you change anything?
I think, I don't like the word physically. I think if we change it, a person's permanent address where they reside and maintain their abode, or leave the word abode, that's fine.
That's a legal term, that's what
Yeah,
it's on.
that's
why it's in
fine.
there.
Right. I think it's pretty, to me, it's pretty simple for a resident. It's where you vote, it's where we pay our taxes.
Right.
It's on my driver's license, my rent, all of us, right? That's, we can all show where we legally reside, so I can, any other comments?
No, I would just say, obviously, I guess it's directed at you, but you pay taxes in town.
No, it's not directed to me. No, it's not directed to me personally. Right, do I pay taxes? Property taxes? No, but no one has to pay property taxes to elect a position, because at the end, let me finish. Because you have people that rent homes and rent, you know what I'm saying, that are residents in town, are voters, this is their permanent residence. They can be on a board and not, because they rent a house doesn't mean they pay taxes. That's not, so that has nothing to do with that. I think permanent residency is just, I pay, do I have a house or mortgage in Brimfield? No, okay, I don't. But at the same time, my excise tax, my vehicle's registered here, right.
That was my only question.
Yeah, that's okay. So, but I think, again, I think it's just your physical address is where I just don't like the physical where you reside, that's all. A person's permanent address is where they reside and maintaining their abode. So if we take physically out, That's pretty clear. And that seems to be in line with what's in the residency for voting purposes. From what I read. And again, that is extremely vague. I encourage everybody to read that.
Yes, it's very
I
vague.
did read it.
Right.
It's vaguer than vague.
Right. But again, I understand why, because when it comes to residency, as it states in there, it's very specific to individuals. And we don't want to, we can't, right? Everybody should be. Yeah.
Right, but we don't want somebody coming in, I mean, I guess this is my opinion, somebody coming in to rent, on the lake for the summer to be
Yeah.
running. I mean, we have to have,
Right, but here's the thing, if someone was renting a lake in the summer, and that's their permanent resident, that's their residency. So in other words, their driver's license is Brimfield, Mass, blah, 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 that's their residency. That's-
Renters not coming in, they're just going
Right.
to run for more because they're only renting for rather than be 1 month or 6 months.
Right. And this is just elected positions, this isn't about other bottom right committees and boards that are, appointed. So I'll make a motion, I'll make a motion that we accept the warrant article for Chapter 1, Section 4.2, officers to be elected, residency, to read, all elected town officials must maintain a permanent address in the town of Brimfield. Residence in the context means a person's permanent address where they reside and maintain their abode.
permanent address or permanent residence?
It says permanent address is how this is written. So,
Permanent residence in the town.
so I'm gonna say, I'll read it again, because this is what is, right, unless you want to change it. This is how it's presented to the board. All elected town officials must maintain a permanent residence
Right,
in the town of Brimfield. Residence in this context means a person's permanent address where they reside and maintain their abode.
right, just to be clear, the first time you read it with address as residence, but that's okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay.
I'm sorry.
I don't want you to think I was coming at you.
No, I don't. So basically, I'm just taking the word physically.
Yes, I second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Adam's aye.
So do no.
McGuire, aye.
Randall, aye.
Bruce.
All right, up next, we have the Troop 7 Scout Citizenship and Community Merit Badge. Do we have a representative from the Scouts?
Hi.
Are all the scouts?
So why does it have to be a special?
Oh, honey, can you just tell us who you are? And can you come forward, do you mind? You can come as a group if you want.
You guys can go up as a group if you want.
Hi, everybody.
How are we doing tonight?
We don't bite, don't worry. I just hope you don't ask too hard of questions. All right, if you could just say who you are, your name, you don't have to use your last name, just your first name.
So my name is Parker, and my question is, why does it have to be a special town meeting to vote on building permit?
Well,
Can I take
it's
that?
simple, from what I understand, that it's going to take a long time. There's probably going to be a lot of questions from the town residents. So for us to have it at the normal meeting, it might make some people angry. So we want to make sure that we have enough time to answer all the questions. Did I cover that?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yep. Yep. And the town meeting should have there's a lot at a town meeting, so
Yes.
the townspeople need to be focused on all the issues at the town meeting, and any capital project, not just this one moving forward, it should be its own separate, so people can stay focused on that topic.
Like a really long book report.
Right, right.
My name is Melissa. I'm not sure if I have a question right now, but I'm sure I'll think of
Well, we can come back to you.
My name is Drew, and I'll have any questions.
No?
My name is Steve Jordan, and my question is, how are we going to expand the town cleanup, put the trash on the street.
How we're gonna expand,
We're gonna expand town cleanup.
You mean the once a year town cleanup, or is it the bi-weekly trash and recycling?
The ones that you,
So is that something that you participate in every year? Yeah. Do you have any ideas? Let me throw it back to you. There's your question with the question. Do you have any ideas of how we can improve that?
we can have it at meetings or,
You don't really know?
I mean, don't we usually do that every year?
oh, we do, we were just, actually, the Scoutmaster and I were talking about it today. I think the date's April 12th. We just have to get the flyer off to the Board of Health, and in our garbage contract, so, which helps to this point, in our contract with Republic, I was able to get a dumpster provided part of that contract, so no longer the Board of Health have to use funds for that, or we have to solicit donations for that. So that's, that's set for April 12th, right, it's Saturday?
Yep, from 8 to 12.
8 to 12.
So can I ask you guys, do you guys always have, like when you guys do these cleanups, Mr. Fedora, do you have enough volunteers, or is it just the scouts?
it's mostly just the scouts.
Would it help if you had more volunteers? It would. Interesting. Well, maybe we can come up with some way to maybe ask for some more volunteers.
So they don't, I mean, Stephen probably doesn't know this, but the way it is set up right now is residents can sign up, like they can actually sign up for it's a QR code. They go to a link and they can register, like how many are in their cleanup party, what street you want to clean up.
Oh.
You want to do the town common, you want to do the ball field of the school, you can just plug in in the past. So a lot of times the scouts on the day of cleanup, you'd be amazed, the day of cleanup, most of the scouts are here, the Cub Scouts show up. We get some residents, but usually that's the cleanup day. But we do get residents that'll email in, they says, hey, we can't be there that day, so we cleaned up our road here, here's a picture, So we do get some groups of residents, some of them get into it, they name their team and stuff, and they have fun, but you're right, we need to do a better job promoting that, Stephen, too, we need to work on that a little bit, so.
I would be happy to help you try to get more volunteers. Does that answer your question?
Has that ever gone off the code red by any chance in years
No,
past?
we haven't, but we could. That's a good
A
idea.
little bit.
That's
a
actually.
little bit of community involvement, yeah.
Yeah, so Code Red, Steve, just so you know, is a system the town has that we can send out text messages, emails, phone, it does it all at once. And we use it mostly for like announce town meetings and things like that.
Emergencies, yeah.
But we could definitely do that. So that will go out to every resident and how to sign up and all that stuff. We'll figure that out. Yeah, that's a good idea.
How's that?
Yeah.
Thank you for your question.
I'm Rod Flannery. I was wondering, what can like youth or young people do to participate and help out with the town?
Well, we got a ton of garbage over at the town hall that needs to be emptied out, so we can start there. That's a good
Actually,
question.
I know that we have, our rec field cleanup is coming up in May, and they're always looking for volunteers to do the 3 fields. I think that's a great way for the younger kids to get involved. What else? I know you guys do a lot with rec, but I would definitely reach out to them and see what you guys can do. I know you guys participate usually in their parade and things like that. But I think helping with the fields would be amazing. Anybody who wanted to learn how to line the fields, that's another task that they struggle with. It's easy, they could walk you through it. What else could you do?
If I may, about reading buddies at the library. I have a 5-year-old daughter who would love to have a reading buddy. Asking the librarian there what times are available to do some reading buddy. Also, too, there's civically. The day of the election, after school, you can come down. The town clerk is right behind you, so you can meet her. There she is. She's the town clerk. She runs the elections. You can come down and see what they do at the elections. You can help out, just observing how that runs. There's a lot of things to do besides cleaning. A lot of things the town can do.
But I think you guys do an amazing job already within the community. So
wanting
kudos to you guys.
Yeah, so wanting to do more is a
Thank
plus,
you.
so I thank you.
My name's Zach Vincent. About the town hall, it's $11.35 million. That's for an elevator and what else was in that project?
Oh, no,
No,
but
it's-
that's a huge project, so that's not just for an elevator, that's for, go ahead, George.
So basically, what it is the town hall as it stands right now, it's basically a full renovation inside. So everything out, down to bare, right? And then office spaces, there's some redesign going in. Those of you that have been to the town hall, because it's been closed for the last 2.5, 3 years. right?
It's not safe right now.
Right, so the stage part that's there, from the stage to the back of the building, we've learned that is an addition that was built back in the 1930, 32, something like that. That's the structure part that's really not safe. So this project part of that money is ripping that down and building was a 5,000 square foot, roughly,
5,000 square foot addition includes.
off the back. And from there, the elevator's part of that. You know, that's where
It's
the
a small
elevator,
part.
that's where the elevator, so that's part of it, right? You know, so, in
It's
a
also
nutshell,
Preserving a lot of the floor that's in
Historical.
the town hall,
right,
staircase that's in there, some of the office space.
right,
It's for your future use.
right,
Hopefully you'll be running town hall.
right. And that's a good question too, because, you know, for you, like at home, when you do a renovation, it's pretty simple, right? Your parents just, okay, we're gonna put this in the kitchen and bada boom, it's done. This project's a little different. There's a lot of committees that are involved. It's a historic building, so the historic commission has been involved from the get-go, because they really want to preserve a lot of the history of the town, and it's hard. I mean, we're trying to find that balance, what's worth saving and what's not, because we're spending taxpayer dollars. But that's what the project is.
Good question.
That's a good question.
They're all good
Did
questions.
you get a question yet? Did you think of a question?
Yeah, you said there's a town cleanup once a year.
Yep.
How come it's only once a year? How come there's not more town cleanups per year?
That's a good question. I just think that historically, it's been once a year in the spring. I don't think, like, we couldn't do anything in the winter. Too dangerous. Do you think that our town is scary? I'm just playing. No, I mean, if we could get the help, I think we could organize a second one if needed. I think the troops do an amazing job on that one time a year.
It's maybe something that you guys could bring up as well, like at the first cleaning in the spring, maybe get it out there that there's a possibility of some talks to possibly maybe do a fall cleanup. Just to kind of put it out there so people know, because again, it's historically been once a year in the springtime. But it's a great question, and it's not a bad idea to, hopefully people don't throw things out their windows and we don't have to do it a second time.
Yeah, very true. Does anybody else have any questions?
So during the town cleanup, we usually go under the bridge.
Yes, over here.
Parts,
Yeah.
yeah. I was just wondering if there's a way we could block it off, because that's the area where we have some of the most trash, but it's also, I'd say one of the most dangerous spots, because there's all of the rocks, and you can get your foot caught in, and, there's, I don't know how deep that water is.
Yes.
Pretty sure it's really deep.
Yes.
And I smashed my head a few times on the concrete.
So-
Right.
I don't know if there's a way to block it off, that's a good question, but I know what you're talking about, because I've actually peeked under there on one of my walks, and it can get kind of nasty. At one point, we even had we even put just a bucket down there for trash, because the kids were swimming in that water. But I don't know if there's any way to block it off. don't know, is that even a state bridge? It could be state.
Could be.
Yeah, but yes, I have seen the trash out of there, and I think we need to do a better job. And I think a lot of that is maybe even just talking to your peers and saying, hey, if you're hanging out at the bridge, we really should clean up because there are some animals that live under there and things. And maybe we have a trash down there that during the summer that maybe would help with the cleanup. That's just me.
Not a bad idea.
It's pretty nasty under there, huh? I know. I've seen it. Anybody else? No? Well, thank you guys for coming.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you for all the questions.
Up next is the 2025 annual flea market owner operators license for Brimfield Barn.
I make a motion, we approve the 2025 annual flea market owner operators license for Brimfield Barn and Brimfield Antique Show. Oh, I can't do it?
We have to,
Oh,
that's
sorry.
not complete.
It's not completed, so it's on hold.
Oh. Is that the one?
Yeah, but it's on hold for different, actually, it's 2 issues.
Oh, is that what we were talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was a different field order. All right, never mind. So, yeah, so I'll make a motion to include the 2025 annual flea market owner operators license for Brimfield Barn.
Second.
Any discussion?
Everything, we're good?
Good. Okay. All in favor?
Adam's aye.
So do I.
Why,
Randall, aye?
I make a motion to adjourn.
second.
All in favor?
Adam's aye.
Why,
Randall, aye?
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
My 2 cents.
All right, have a good night, everyone.
you too. Is the wife getting mad?
Yes. What's that?
That's Mike.
Oh,
No, Mike.
Sorry, I know you're.
no, I didn't throw it out.
You're headed out of town, okay? Working hard. Yeah, we'll work together, so wait.
Well, thank you, Kristen.
This part, the open outside. It's still will be part of the play. No, and there's still some minimum conversations, but.
Okay.
Yeah, I find that must be. So this is like every department. Right. I always think. Like 17 times.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.